639-acre cemetery to a little bit less than a square mile. Across those 639 acres, these families placed more than 430,000 American service members. This is a national military veterans cemetery for the European countries and all of these veterans. She's calling them again.
Germain to dispatch. Radio check.
Way too many. Yeah. And yeah, you can when you're ready, you can sit anywhere you want on the second car. Yeah. Thank you.
Then the final stop will be Arlington House, former residents of George Washington Park Custis, and his son-in-law, General Robert E. Lee. General Robert E. Lee at the Arlington House. And we're running every 15-20 minutes. Final vehicle will leave the welcome center here today at 4 o'clock. So feel free to spend the rest of the day hopping on, dispatch, and see if they can retrieve it. But do not ever try to get on or off a moving vehicle. That is dangerously stupid. No standing while the vehicle is in motion, no eating, drinking, smoking, vaping on the vehicle with the exception. Bottled water, everyone stay hydrated. It's getting warm again, everyone, so keep hydrated. And while we're on the subject, they sell bottled water at the gift shop over here, at the gift shop at the Arlington House, and the Military Women's Memorial sells bottled water as well. And there's a vending machine over at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier that'll sell bottled water too. So everybody stay hydrated, everybody stay cool. And please keep the conversation to a minimum while the narration is going on so everyone can hear. And most importantly, everyone, remember, we are entering an active cemetery. 25 funeral services going on today. The maximum we can have a day is 30. We run into a procession, everything stops, we give respect to our fallen service members. That includes no taking pictures of the funeral service. I know it's very powerful to see a procession pass by. But remember, everyone is a funeral, not a photo opportunity. I will give our fallen service member the family following behind the respect. And before we begin, we're honored to have a special introduction.
Hello everyone, this is General Colin Powell. It is my great pleasure to welcome you to Arlington National Cemetery. As you begin your visit, please remember that this is the most sacred place in reverence for a great nation. Those who are...
All right, everybody stay seated, move the vehicle. All right, those of you joining us, I'm the narrator, 5th grade driver. I'll see you again through the cemetery safely. Remember, stay seated at all times. Keep everything inside the vehicle at all times. All the vehicles motion, please. All right, and we will get started. All right, coming up on the driver's side here. Known as one of the 4 entry points for funeral processions into Arlington National Cemetery. Everyone notice the signs. You see the names on the signs. Family lines up behind the sign. When the time for the funeral comes, they proceed into the cemetery from here. So one of 4 entry points for funeral processions into the cemetery. Other entry points, Memorial Drive behind us, and on the opposite side of the cemetery, Joint Base Meyer Henderson Hall. There are 2 chapels, Old Post Chapel and Memorial Chapel, where funeral processions can enter from there as well. All right, everyone, pastor's side. Coming into view on the pastor's side, that red arch, that is the McClellan Gate, one of the 4 original entrances to Arlington National Cemetery. Named after Union Civil War General George B. McClellan, who President Abraham Lincoln hired twice, and who President Abraham Lincoln fired twice. They had a complicated relationship. Gates made out of the same red red sandstone that used to make the castle at the Smithsonian. As we pass in front of the gate, everyone noticed that left column. Gold letters there. There's a name. Meggs, Quartermaster General Montgomery Meggs, the founder of Arlington National Cemetery. As we go through the cemetery today, you'll see several structures Quartermaster Meggs designed and had built for the cemetery, including his own gravesite over in section 1. So notice the markers surrounding us now, standing at attention like a soldier. Perfect formation every direction you look. Each marker 42 inches high, 24 inches above ground, 13 inches across, 4 inches thick, weighing 230 pounds, made of Vermont marble. Each one of these markers is government issued, provided as a benefit to our service members through the Veterans Administration. Now, coming up on the driver's side, one of the largest sections here at Arlington National Cemetery. Section 60 on the driver's side. Now, this is where we have the majority of our service members that served in Iraq and Afghanistan buried here at Arlington National Cemetery. On the opposite side of the section have the final resting place for 4-star General and Secretary of State Colin Powell and his wife Al. All right, everyone, past your side. Watch the markers change. All the various shapes, sizes, colors. Any marker that's different than the government marker is privately funded, either through family or private foundation. And since 2017, private markers are no longer allowed here at Arlington National Cemetery. For space and maintenance considerations, the only markers now allowed here at the cemetery are the standard government-issued markers, like the ones on the driver's side here. All right, coming up on the driver's side when we make this turn, section 25. Everyone, section 25, driver's side, watch that third row on the driver's side. Look for a marker with gold letters for one of the over 400 Medal of Honor recipients buried here at Arlington National Cemetery. Marker with the gold letters, final resting place for Sergeant Henry Johnson, member of the 369th Infantry Regiment, also known as the Harlem Hellfighters. When we pass this large tree coming up on the driver's side, watch that third row, a marker there with gold letters, a picture of the Medal of Honor on it. Now in France in World War I, Sergeant Johnson held off a German raiding party in hand-to-hand combat, got wounded 21 times, and for his heroism became the first American in history awarded France's highest military honor, the Croix de Guerre, the Cross of War, Sergeant Henry Johnson of the Harlem Hellfighters. So our first stop today, John F. Kennedy graveside with the eternal flame. A few months before he was assassinated, President Kennedy made a surprise visit here to Arlington. And while he was looking at that beautiful view of the city from Arlington House, said to the park ranger next to him that I could stay here forever. So when he was assassinated on November 22nd, 1963, his wife Jackie, having heard about what he had said, and seeing the beautiful site selected for him here in Arlington, agreed to have him buried here by the beautiful view that he loved so much. 3 days after the assassination, President Kennedy was buried here at Arlington National Cemetery, and Jackie Kennedy lit the eternal flame. And the eternal flame was Jackie Kennedy's idea. She saw the eternal flame at the Arch of Triumph in Paris for the unknown soldier there, and she wanted an eternal flame for President Kennedy. All right, everyone, driver's side, first row, look for a black marker with wings on it. Final resting place for Lieutenant Commander Barbara Allen Rainey, the first female naval aviator. Past a small tree, driver's side, black marker with the wings on it for Lieutenant Commander Barbara Allen Rainey. Past your side, everyone, third row, look for a marker, says New Jersey on it, for Marine Gunnery Sergeant Sean Vassalone. Right past that small tree, past your side, says New Jersey, shown on top of it. Gunnery Sergeant Vassalone in World War II held off a Japanese attack at Guadalcanal for 3 days. Went home to a hero's welcome parade that was covered in Life magazine. but he wanted to go back to his men, went back, and was tragically killed the first day of the Battle of Iwo Jima. First enlisted Marine in World War II, awarded not just the Congressional Medal of Honor, but the Navy Cross for his heroism. Also on the passenger side, two brothers buried next to each other, Raito and Wataru Nakashima, members of the 442nd Regimental Combat Team, one of the most decorated combat teams in military history. Over 8,000 Purple Hearts, over 5,000 Bronze Stars, 21 Medal of Honors awarded, made up almost entirely of Japanese Americans, many of whose families were in internment camps at the time. Now, coming up on the driver's side, Chaplain's Hill. One marker on the hill for 23 chaplains of all denominations died during World War I. Other three markers for chaplains of the Catholic faith, Protestant faith, and Jewish faiths died during World War II, the Korean War, and the Vietnam War. So we're coming to our stop for that Kennedy graveside with the eternal flame. You'll find the final resting place for John F. Kennedy, Jackie Kennedy, and their two infant children. If you keep walking, there'll be two wooden crosses. One cross for Brother Robert Kennedy, the other cross for Brother Edward Kennedy, and a final memorial marker for the eldest brother Joseph Kennedy Jr. He was a naval aviator. A plane exploded over the North Sea during World War II. Remains were never recovered. So, coming up on the passenger side, one of the two equestrian statues here in Arlington. Gentleman on the horse there, Field Marshal Sir John Dill, appointed by Winston Churchill to be the British liaison with America during World War II. This is where we're dropping you off at the Kennedy graveside, everyone. You're going to walk past the statue up the road ahead to the stone steps. Takes the Kennedy graveside with the eternal flame. Come right back here to the corner. Another one will be here for you in 15, 20 minutes. Make sure you have all your personal items and enjoy your visit. Everyone on the walk, let people off first, then you get on the vehicle, all right? So this will be your stop at the Kennedy graveside, everyone. Enjoy.
Thank you. This is General Colin Powell again. As you leave Arlington National Cemetery, I hope you carry with you the message of hope and solid relations. We are not God, United States. Hello, everyone. This is General Colin Powell. It's my great pleasure to welcome you to Arlington National Cemetery. Thank you.
to the cemetery safely. And remember, everyone, keep everything inside the vehicle at all times. Anything falls out, can't stop till we get to the tube. So hold on all your personal items. Stay seated at all times while the vehicle is in motion. On to the tomb of the unknown soldier. All right, everyone. Now, past your side up here, I have a beautiful view there of Arlington House. Now, that flagpole there is approximately where President Kennedy stood when he made that remark to the park ranger about staying here forever. Now, on the driver's side, everyone, only black marker, top of the hill, driver's side, final resting place for General Benjamin O. Davis Jr., Commander of the Tuskegee Airmen. Now, 4 rows down, final resting place for his father, General Benjamin O. Davis Sr., 1940, became the first African-American general in American history. Top of the hill, passenger side, final resting place for the last 5-star naval officer, Fleet Admiral William Bull Halsey, commanded the 3rd Fleet during World War II. Also on the passenger side, final resting place for Lieutenant General Leslie Groves, the man in charge of the Manhattan Project and development of the atomic bomb. If you saw the Oppenheimer movie, Matt Damon played him in a movie. Driver's side, everyone, section 7, have the final resting place for the first 5-star General George C. Marshall. Created the Marshall Plan, economic revitalization in Europe after World War II. For his work, he was awarded a Nobel Peace Prize. One of only 2 Nobel laureates buried here in Arlington. The other Nobel laureate buried here, Secretary of State Henry Kissinger, over in section 21. Coming up on the passenger side, everyone, there'll be a plaza with a set of benches. When we pass the benches, a large tree with a large ground marker next to it. Ground marker next to the tree. Final resting place for Army veteran and former heavyweight champion of the world, Joe Louis Barrow, the brown marker next to the tree there. Government marker next to it for Academy Award-winning actor Lee Marvin, the Dirty Dozen, Cat Baloo. He was a Marine veteran, Purple Heart recipient for his heroism on Saipan. So before we drop you off, we're passing in front of the tomb. This is where they do the ceremony. Taking my hand off out of respect, asking everyone to do so. Have your cameras out. Spectacular view coming up here on the passenger side. Cameras out, passenger side. Alright, thank you for your respect, everyone. So we're dropping you off on the other side of the building in a few minutes. Did you notice the 3 figures sculpted into the tomb? 3 figures symbolizing peace, victory, and valor. Driver's side, section 6, have the final resting place for the Marines, Marine. The greatest of all the Leathernecks, 13th Commandant of the Marine Corps, Lieutenant General John A. Leisure, Camp Leisure, North Carolina, named in his honor. Black marker, driver's side, says Archer on it. For Lieutenant Colonel Lee Buddy Archer, another Tuskegee Airman. In World War II, Lieutenant Colonel Archer shot down 3 German enemy aircraft in 10 minutes. Everyone noticed the markers on the hill, how much closer they are together. They all begin with in memory of. There's no remains buried under these markers. These are all cenotaphs. Memorial markers for service members who were missing in action. Buried at sea. Remains never recovered. Coming up on the driver's side. Presbyterian cross, top of the hill there. Cross is a memorial marker for Major Archibald Butt. Now, he was a military advisor for Teddy Roosevelt and William Howard Taft. Lost his life when the ship he was traveling on hit an iceberg. He was on the Titanic. So our next stop, to the unknown soldier. Now there's more than one unknown soldier buried there. There's an unknown soldier for World War I, unknown soldier for World War II, and an unknown soldier for the Korean War. Now there was an unknown soldier for the Vietnam War, but he was later identified. So since then, that tomb remains empty in memory of all our missing Vietnam service members. Tombs guarded 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, and all weather conditions by the tomb guards. They'll lead members of the Old Guard, 3rd U.S. Army Infantry Regiment. Now on the driver's side, memorial for the Spanish-American War. These are all Spanish cannons that were captured by American forces. Next on the driver's side, large tree with a stone walkway around it and a chain link fence. Corner of the chain link fence, final resting place for Major Arnie Murphy, most decorated infantryman of World War II. So we're here at the tomb. Next change is going to be at 1 o'clock, plenty of time. So you'll see the change opposite side of the building. When you are done, don't come here to get picked up. You're going to go straight ahead past the steps to where those people are standing on the other side. So that side is where you get picked up. Make sure you have all your personal items and enjoy your visit, everyone. Take care now.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? I am Sentinel Orton of the 3rd Infantry Regiment, United States Army, Guard of Honor, Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. The ceremony that you are about to witness is the changing of the guard. In keeping with the dignity of this ceremony, it is requested that everyone remain silent and standing. Thank you. Left, shoulder, halt. Forward, march. March. Halt. Ready? Hey! Hats, on your orders.
Hold and orders. Remain as directed. Order. Acknowledged.
Ready? Hey! Reason! On! Light! Order! On! Hold! Light! Hey! Art! 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 Halt!
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The ceremony that you are about to witness is an army wreath-laying ceremony to be conducted in honor of the unknowns. It is requested that everyone remain silent and standing during this ceremony. All military personnel in uniform will render the hand salute, and it is appropriate for all others to place their right hand over their heart upon the command of present arms. Thank you.
Sentinel Horse of the 3rd Infantry Regiment, United States Army. Guard of Honor, Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. The ceremony that you are about to witness is the changing of the guard. In keeping with the dignity of this ceremony, it is requested that everyone remain silent and stand. Thank you. Order! Oh! Out! 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 Halt!
Okay, no problem.
Miss Heather ain't growing no more, so don't worry about it.
IOWA. JIMA.
That's the last stop of the tour.
Everyone stay seated.
We're
We're
going
going
to
to head over to
Arlington
Arlington House.
Oh,
You're just joining us. I mean, narrator Fitz, great driver out. She's getting us through the cemetery safely. And remember, everyone, keep everything inside the vehicle at all times. Anything falls out, can't stop until we get to our next stop, Arlington House. And stay seated at all times while the vehicle's in motion. All right, on Arlington House, driver's side. That mast is the rear mast of the USS Maine that mysteriously exploded in Havana Harbor, Cuba in 1898. Started the Spanish-American War. That cross is the Canadian Cross of Sacrifice, dedicated to the American citizens who went over to Canada to enlist and fight World War I, World War II, and the Korean War, before America formally declared and became involved in the fighting. So next stop, Arlington House. Before Arlington was a cemetery, it was an 1,100-acre plantation owned by George Washington Parke Custis. George Washington Parke Custis was the adopted grandson of George Washington. And George Washington Parke Custis was someone avid of his step-grandfather. That when the enslaved workers built Arlington House was set up, was as a memorial to him, a second Mount Vernon, along with George Washington memorabilia. Pictures, clothing, manuscripts, even the tent that he used to tour town. So George Washington Parke Custis and his wife have a daughter, Mary. She marries Robert E. Lee. They get married at Arlington House, have 6 of their 7 children at Arlington House. So when George Washington Parke Custis passes away, the rights to Arlington House pass on to the daughter. Robert E. Lee never owned Arlington House. What he did was administer the estate for his late father-in-law. Now, Arlington House is the highest point in Arlington National Cemetery, which made it extremely important for the Union to take control of the property when Robert E. Lee joined the Confederacy. Put a few cannons in front of Arlington House over there. You have Washington, D.C. Edge of Mercy. And while we're talking about cannons, notice the cannon over there. Final resting place for Major General Wallace Randolph. Spent his entire military career moving cannons, loading cannons, firing cannons. They would might as well be buried under one. Now the building over here on the passenger side is the ranger station. Park Rangers on Arlington House and the Arlington Woods behind it. And on the driver's side here, this is a Scottish cairn honoring 270 victims of the Lockerbie Scotland bombing, Pan Am Flight 103. 270 orange bricks memorializing all 270 victims of that bombing over Lockerbie, Scotland. So we're here at the Arlington House. If you want to visit the house, you're going to follow the path on the right of the ranger station. Takes you over to Arlington House. Come back to the corner here to get picked up. And we'll have another one here to get you in about 15, 20 minutes, all right? So there's restrooms over at the house, museums over at the house, highest point of the cemetery. This is where you get the picture of the city. So this will be our stop, Arlington House, everyone.
I'm sure that's 30 or 2 minutes.
I'm not, I don't want to walk.
Are you broken right here.
All right, everybody stay seated. We're going to head back to the Welcome Center. Remember, stay seated at all times. Keep all body parts inside the vehicle at all times. Remember, stay hydrated. Get warm again to it, but keep up with the mild water. And our next stop will be the Welcome Center. All right, everyone. Now on the driver's side here, that building there is the Tanner Amphitheater. First amphitheater constructed here in Arlington, where the first Memorial Day ceremony was held. Originally known as Decoration Day. Gentlemen on the horse and on the driver's side, Major General Philip Carney of New Jersey lost his arm in the Mexican War, lost his life in the Civil War, Battle of Chantilly. Now, section 1 here on the passenger side. Everyone watch the fourth row on the passenger side. Look for a white sarcophagus with writing on it. Final resting place for the founder of Arlington National Cemetery, Quartermaster General Montgomery Meigs. Now that green marble marker in front of it, that's the final resting place for his son, John, died in the Shenandoah Valley during the Civil War. So section 1 here on the passenger side, we have service members from the War of 1812 and the Revolutionary War buried here, which makes Arlington National Cemetery the only national cemetery that has service members from all of America's wars buried here. Now, Arlington is a level 3 arboretum. Highest level is a level 4. Have over 8,000 trees, over 500 different varieties. Notice the tree swallowing up the marker here on the passenger side. When a tree swallows up the marker, they'll put a plaque in front of the tree with all the service members' information. So notice the markers on the passenger side. Notice this is where we have the majority of our Civil War service members buried here in Arlington. Notice all the unknowns. Almost half Civil War burials at the time were unknown. Have almost 16,000 Civil War service members buried here at Arlington National Cemetery. All right, coming up, passenger side. Tree with a gray marker next to it says 4 brothers for the 4 McClellan brothers. All served together in the Civil War, but they all didn't die in the Civil War. 2 died in the Civil War, the other 2 died later, but they all wanted to be buried together, and that's the final resting place for the 4 McClellan brothers. 1 row back from the brick wall have the final resting place for James Parks, only person buried here, who was born here. James Parks was born into slavery on the plantation. When he became emancipated, staying on, worked for the Army as a caretaker. Helper Forts dug graves so well respected that when he passed away, he was given a military honors funeral. The first civilian here at Arlington National Cemetery ever given a military honors funeral, James Parks. Now on the passenger side, have the final resting place for Major William H. Crook. Now Major Crook started out as a Washington police officer, became a presidential bodyguard for President Abraham Lincoln, was going to go to Ford's Theater with him that fateful night. President Lincoln sent him home early. Someone else went in his place. Now coming up on the driver's side, a white pillar with a bronze plaque for the Rough Riders led by Colonel Leonard Wood and Lieutenant Colonel Teddy Roosevelt. All the Rough Riders who lost their lives in the Spanish-American War. All the names engraved around the pillar here on the driver's side for the Rough Riders. And coming up on the driver's side, a little marker in the corner there, for one of the bloodiest battles in World War II, the Battle of the Bulge. Behind the Battle of the Bulge Memorial, the Maltese Cross, honoring the nurses of the Spanish-American War. Spanish-American War was the first war where the Army created a nurse corps. And on the driver's side, the Spirit of Nursing statue watching over the nurses section of Arlington National Cemetery. Over 600 nurses who heroically gave their lives for our nation. Now, if you saw the changing of the guard ceremony, after about 9 months, sentinels are eligible to take a series of tests to get one of the most difficult badges to get in the United States military, the Tomb Guard Identification Badge. And as of now, a little over 700 have been given out. And here in section 35, the final resting place for the first recipient of the Tomb Guard identification badge, Master Sergeant William Daniel, when he retired from the military, donated his badge to the Tomb Guards, now on display in the barracks under the amphitheater. Master Sergeant William Daniel, the first recipient of the Tomb Guard identification badge. Now coming up on the passenger side, everyone, mausoleum, top of the hill on the passenger side, final resting place for Medal of Honor recipient, Major General Nelson A. Miles. Now Major General Nelson A. Miles, in prison, the president of the Confederacy, Jefferson Davis, ended up in his prison, Fort Monroe, Virginia, at the end of the Civil War. Also here on the hill here in Section 3, final resting place for Colonel Thomas E. Rose. Colonel Thomas Rose masterminded the greatest prison escape in Civil War history. 109 Union officers tunneled the way out of the Libby prison in Richmond, Virginia. 59 make it to Union lines. 2 drowned during the attempt. 48 get recaptured by the Confederates, including Colonel Thomas Rose. But that doesn't stop him. He tries to escape again. Less than 2 months later, Confederates get so tired of him, they get rid of him in a prisoner exchange. Colonel Thomas E. Rose of the great Libby prison escaped. So, Arlington Cemetery came out of necessity. Wasn't until almost 3 years after the Union took control of the property that they started military burials here. Civil War casualties were building up at such a pace. Other cemeteries were filling up. Soldiers' Home, Alexandria Cemetery. And it was only then that the founder of the cemetery, Quartermaster General Montgomery Meigs, recommended 200 acres here be used for military burials. First military burial, May 13, 1864, Private William Crispin. Did not die in battle. Died of the measles. During that time, more service members were dying of disease than actual combat. Now, since then, 200 acres has now grown to 639 acres, and we now have over 420,000 people buried here at Arlington National Cemetery. Now, on the passenger side here, behind section 60 on the passenger side, we have columbariums for the cremated remains of our service members. Almost half the burials here at Arlington are cremations. So within the columbariums and niches, where a service member can have up to 4 urns, one for the service member, the rest for the spouse and dependents. The whole idea is to keep Arlington operational and available for as many of our service members as possible. Now coming up on the passenger side, Section 59. Section 59 on the passenger side have the final resting place for a computer pioneer and mathematical genius, Rear Admiral Grace Hopper, helped to create the COBOL computer language, and also was there for the first documented computer in the bucket. At Harvard, they were doing tests on their computer, they were having problems, opened up the circuit board, found a moth in the system, and that moth, the first official computer book, now on display in the Smithsonian Museum of Natural History, the first official computer book. All right, everyone. Now let's use this poem before. At Flanders Fields, the poppies blow between the crosses, row on row, which mark our place into the sky. The larks still bravely singing fly, scarce heard amid the guns below. We are the dead, short days ago. We lit up dawn, saw sunset glow, left echo loud. And now we lie in Flanders Fields. Take up a quarrel with a foe, till you from failing hands we throw the torch be yours to hold it high. If you break faith with us or die, we shall not sleep, though poppies grow in Flanders Fields. Poem was written by Canadian physician John McCrae, presiding over the funeral of a friend who died during World War I. Surveyed the battlefield of death and destruction, only thing growing with these little red poppies. Since then, poppies have become an international symbol of remembrance and sacrifice throughout the world. And remember, I've got a service going on. Hang on, guys. Again, 25 services going on today at the cemetery. became an international symbol of remembrance and sacrifice throughout the world. And to remember the sacrifice of our service members here today, at the end of the tour, I'm giving out the free souvenir copies for everyone, so make sure you get a free copy before you leave today. And as we head back to the Welcome Center, I'd like to thank you for spending some time here at Arlington National Cemetery. It's a privilege to show you such magnificent place. I hope you enjoyed your visit. And if you did, look into the other tours Old Town probably offers. Wonderful monuments by Moonlight Tour, as well as a 15-stop tour around the DC area I'm sure you'll enjoy. And if you remember one thing from traveling through these hallowed grounds, remember this: times change, wars change, administrations change. One thing stays the same: the salvation of this country has always been, and continues to be, and the dedication, the courage, and the sacrifice of those who serve, and the families who serve with them. And for that, they deserve our total gratitude. I've been narrator Fitz, great drive around seat, getting us through the cemetery safely. Take a moment, make sure you have all your personal items with you. Wait till we come to complete stop before you exit the vehicle. Don't forget, come by, get a free copy before you leave. And enjoy the rest of your visit to the Washington, D.C. area, everyone. Thanks for coming, and thanks for spending some time here at Arlington National Cemetery, everyone. You enjoy the rest of your day, everyone. You have a safe trip home. Take care now. Okay, watch yourself. Get off now.
You're the leader.
Thank you.